Get those nerds!
Yep, this is happening. Bid Nerds is back. I'm sitting around our studio, the Rami studio here in the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas. I need caffeine, but all we have is liquor in here. Welcome back to the show. I need liquor after all the work that we've been doing for you guys. My name is John Polnick. I'm the host, along with my partner Michael Deeb, who is in San Francisco. He's not here in Las Vegas with me. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, man, but I'm just drinking water. I didn't know you were on a bender.
I wish I were. I'm not. I need to go and just hit some scotch. I think maybe all this tech stuff we've been doing to try to fix all the audio problems and our new technical look and all that we've been working on this for weeks for you people, for the nerd herd, the nerd nation, particularly the nerd fans that all they do is come onto our comments and talk ish about how
bash my audio,
your audio from San Francisco. You try to get audio from 600 miles away. It's a pain in the rear, man. It's you're not an expert. You don't know. All the people who made suggestions were wrong. I just want to say that to you guys. I love you for being a fan of the show. I love you for subscribing, but you were wrong. You didn't know what you were talking about. None of your suggestions worked. They were all complete horse-ish. But anyways, we've got it all figured out. We're back. I don't know. It's probably because we have a sponsor now and they helped us out. Our friends, God and Porsche of Las Vegas. Check out God and Porsche of Las Vegas, man.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a car, particularly an old Porsche or enthusiast car, Steve will get you hooked up down there. You buy a car, they'll fly you in. You can go hang out on the strip, drive your car around, come down to Cars and Cafe, hang out with us, go home, and they'll ship the car back to you. It's awesome. God and Porsche of Las Vegas.
Or you could drive it home.
Or you can drive it home. That's what a real enthusiast would do.
Yeah, drive it home.
I give, it's December, or I'm sorry, it's I don't even know what month it is anymore. It's January. I give someone a pass if they don't want to drive their 911 back to like Milwaukee right now. I get that.
JP, I spent enough time at God and Porsche to say that that's not going to be an issue. I don't think a lot of cars are leaving Clark County and going to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Okay, those cars are all going back to California.
Madison, I know a lot of car enthusiasts in Madison. Madison's a cool car scene, man, but not exactly a place that you want to be driving around in a rear-wheel drive air-cooled car right now. Yeah. There are times of the year where you do. Well, Madison, that's where Kelly Moss is at, man.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
some of the best Porsches
cool.
in the country are coming out of there. If you're a race car driver, you know who that is. Shout out to
if you're a millionaire, you're getting a car out of Madison. You and I are not buying a car from Kelly Moss.
I'm not getting a car from Kelly Moss. I bought a car from a good friend of mine who is getting a car from Kelly Moss.
Absolutely.
That's about as close as I'm getting here. All right, guys.
Yeah, you just made his down payment on his car by buying his car.
I bought his seats, his purple leather seats. Shout out to my boy Kelly Smith, if you're watching, buddy. We love you. All right, hey, let's get back to the show. Bid Nerds is back. What we do on this channel, if you're new, if you're just checking it out, maybe you saw us on DWA or just another pointless automotive podcast, or about us on one of the other places, Everyone Racers, Dur or Die. We've been getting some shout outs by a lot of folks. That's really cool. Thank you. If you came to our channel, you're like, well, what the hell's going on? Where are you guys? We took a little. We didn't take a break. Everyone thinks that we took a break. We didn't take a break. We have taken some time away from publishing so that we could sort out some of our technical issues. We still have, it seems like this whole thing has brought on more technical issues than we had in the first place, but
your words, not mine.
I try to improve things. Anyways, we're happy to be back, but this channel, we're
hosted by a new system. So that's why, we got the warm fuzzy look. We're using cameras now. Hopefully it's a better product.
Hopefully it is. So what we do on this channel, the fundamental, regardless of all the technical stuff, is we find the most interesting car of the day from all the automotive enthusiast auction sites, like Bring a Trailer, P-Car Market, Cars and Bids, and more. Once we find the most interesting car, we have a conversation with you about it. We tell you what are the pros, what are the cons. We talk about the specific car, its history, all those things. Then we make a prediction as to what we think will happen with that car's auction. Will it sell? For how much? Will it fail to sell? We talk about all those things. And then at the end of the episodes, we get in our flux capacitor future machine and we go in the future and we find out just how wrong we were.
Yeah.
Which is usually very. We don't know what we're doing. Don't
Yeah.
take our advice. This is not an advice show. This is just two yahoos talking about what they think about some cars on the auction site. So let's get right to it, man. Let's talk about the most interesting car of the day. Today's most interesting car today is, in my opinion, a very interesting car. We don't always pick the most expensive or most exotic, but I think this one definitely fits the bill. What are we talking about today, Michael Deeb?
JP, feast your eyes on this 1993 Porsche 968 Club Sport. The Club Sport model was never brought to the United States. As such, this car does have a ZZZ VIN, meaning it's a car that was never destined for North America. When you get that ZZZ, this is a car for another market. Now, the seller nor Bring a Trailer mentions where the car was imported from, other than to say that the car was imported into the United States in September of 2022, just a few months ago. But one of the commenter denotes that this car, based on some things that he sees that I cannot substantiate because I'm not well versed enough, that this was a French market car. Now, prior to 2000, it'd be very easy to see it was a French market car because all you had to do was see if it had yellow headlights. But he said something about the way the VIN tags were presented, that he believed it was a French market car. But again, that is an allegation. I have no idea if it's true. It doesn't really matter. Our car looks to be in very nice condition for a car that is showing 68,000 kilometers, which equates to about just 42,000 miles. Now, 968s, as you know, John, have a 3-liter inline-4 normally aspirated motor. That's the same motor that's here. But what makes the Club Sport so special is that these cars went on a serious diet and beefed up their muscles when it comes to the suspension. So by issuing some sound deadening material, thinner glass, the fact that it doesn't have power-operated leather seats, it's got these beautiful hardback racing seats. These cars lose 220 pounds, bringing the weight of these cars, the curb weight of these cars, down to 2,910 pounds. The cars have uprated suspension. They come standard with 17-inch wheels. Now, JP, I think this car has Cup 2 alloy wheels, but I believe that Club Sports came on Cup 1s. So I do think somebody changed these wheels out. The cars do come standard with a limited slip differential, Coney shock absorbers, uprated suspension, as I mentioned. They're just really neat cars. 968s were never a sales success, not in the same way that 944 were in the decade prior. But by the time the 90s rolled in, Porsche was having some difficulties, and these cars were not selling well. So they went to the Club Sport to try and make a version of the car appeal to the real drivers, somebody that would either take their car on back roads or perhaps do the occasional track day. And by all accounts, they succeeded. These cars are fantastic, even if they were not a commercial success with regards to selling outlandish numbers of them. We never got these on our shores, and I've always thought they were really cool. So I mentioned that the 996 40th anniversary is my favorite Porsche that I've never driven. This might be my second favorite Porsche that I've never driven. I think the normally aspirated nature of the motor, I think the 6-speed manual transmission that's in these cars, the near perfect 50-50 weight distribution, and those hardback sports seats. JP, can you not picture me rolling in a car like this? I think these things are pretty bitchin'. I've always wanted to drive one. I don't know that I'd ever get a chance to own one unless I move back to Clark County. That ZZZ VIN prevents it from being a car that I could register in California. So short of doing my Montana LLC, I think I need to come home to Clark County, and then I can find a gray market CS of my own. It's worth mentioning, JP, that although this car sells in 4 days, the auction closes in 4 days, this is a no reserve lot, so this car will sell on Bring a Trailer 4 days from now. So JP, I'll send it to you. Take a look at that steering wheel one more time. Is that not the same steering wheel that Rami has in his 993 RS?
It is, and that is the correct steering wheel. That's a RS era steering wheel.
Yeah.
Some of them did come with Cup 2s, and most
really?
notably, they were color matched. So, like the red one, the red 968 Club Sports were always had the red wheels, which I would never go for, normally, but on something on a special car like this, you could certainly live with it. I've never driven a Club Sport of one of these either. It's got to be a hoot.
It does. Come
968s,
on.
transaxle cars are so much fun to drive, and if you've ever been in one, like I've driven, race prepped ones that have been gutted and had all the fun
Yeah.
stuff, just and they're just a kick in the pants. So doing it from the factory, it's going to be even better, especially with the way the engine. Look, I want to drive this car. I would
Oh yeah.
love to get behind the wheel of this. This is way more interesting to me than even the far more rare turbo 968.
Well, yeah, they only made like 4 of those, and then those cars now are hundreds of thousands of
Yeah,
dollars. But these cars, JP, are still comfortably under 100 grand. When you
yeah,
think about some of the rare versions or the super low mile 944 turbos, the Silver Roses, those cars with like under 25,000 miles are now 6-figure cars. The fact that you can get what is essentially an RS version of a 968, and you could find one in this country for like in that $75,000 to $90,000 range, it seems like it's a lot of car for the money. Uprated suspension, 220 pounds off a 3,100-pound car. That's a substantial difference. You will feel the difference in that
yeah.
in the seat of your pants. I bet these cars drive outstanding. I would love to take one of these up the crest or out to the Overton run with you guys on a Friday morning for the Breakfast Club. So yeah, I love this car. I lust after this thing.
Our friend Paul from Auto Kennel mentioned, as the prices of transaxle cars kind of climbed over the last couple of years, like everything
Yeah.
has, some of the like 951 turbos and some of the special color ones and stuff like that got up
Yeah.
in there in the 60, 70, $80,000 range. He said it best. He's like, look, the cars might be worth that, but they don't relate they're not a $70,000 car driving experience.
Right.
I suspect this one is every bit the
Yeah.
driving experience that you would pay for, and that even if you paid 6 figures for this car, I bet it would feel like a 6-figure,
Yeah.
car that you
Yeah.
would want to drive.
Let me piggyback on that comment because you bring up a really good point. Your best late 80s and early 90s 944s owe their technology to a 1970s Audi, Porsche collaboration on the
Mm-hmm.
924. And that's not to knock that car, but it was never destined to be something spectacular. But the goodies and the hardware that went into this car probably came out of Visoc in the early 90s. And I would say that this car has, better technology going for it. And again, perfect weight distribution. So I agree with that, John. I bet you this car does feel special behind the wheel.
It's one of the bummers of cars from this era is when they first started, cladding everything with plastic trim. Everyone loves the 964, the way that made the G body look much cleaner. But unfortunately, that plastic, like you look at the plastic rocker panels on this particular car, and you can see that they've kind of shrunk and flexed, and they don't look smooth. They don't look like they're in very good condition. But I gotta say, I don't care. I just don't care. That big Club Sport decal above it makes you go on every bit of this car. You're just like, who cares? I would love to get behind the wheel of this car. It'd be really interesting to compare this car to our good friend, Rami, who just got a 993 RS, a real one, and brought that into the country. It'd be interesting to compare and contrast those two cars. Not that this car could compete with a 993 RS.
Yeah. Not in a straight line.
No, not in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways it absolutely could, right? I mean, this is from a driving experience. They've got to have a very similar feel, just that raw.
Yeah.
Let's get after it. The way that only the Porsche factory could really make a car feel. All right. All that said, let's get to the money. What's this thing worth right now? Things are weird out there, right?
It is. Listen, these cars are 27 years old, so they've been in our country for 2, 3, 4 years already. We've seen CSs transact already. It is a weird time right now, but there is some history of these cars. Cars like this tend to bring $85,000, and they're pretty rare. This car is one of 1,900. It sells in 4 days. It's currently sitting at $25,000 on 7 bids. Now, this one is a teeny bit rough, but it's got low miles, and it looks like it's all there. So I'm gonna I think this car is worth $85,000, John. I'm not afraid to go for it on this one. It is on the correct platform. It's on Bring a Trailer. So I'm going to say $85,000, and it sells at that price. And JP, between you and me, if this were my car, I'd do two things to make it go faster. I'd put Cup Ones on it, and I'd put more stickers. That's it.
I don't think as much like I don't understand the Cup 2 hate. I just don't get it. Like, people get so weird about Cup 2. No, seriously, what are you talking about? It's a great looking wheel. It makes
the only way
you ruin your credibility by saying it's a bad looking wheel. I get that it's not as good as a Cup 1. The Cup 1 is one of the best looking wheels ever, but the Cup 2 wheel is a good looking wheel.
I think the Cup 2, for whatever it's worth, belongs on a standard 993. I think it looks gorgeous on that car with that little, picnic basket handle over the back deck lid. I think the car looks beautiful. Just, you can find me in a standard 993 C2 with Cup 1s. I don't need those 18-inch twist wheels. I prefer the Cup 2 over that wheel. But the thing that ruins it is when people start putting this wheel on other cars. Like, could you imagine a set of Cup 2s in silver on, like, say, a black 964 convertible? How terrible that would look.
That is the correct wheel for that car. Look, the thing to do with this car is not to change the wheels, because 968s did come with Cup 2s. The thing to do would be to paint them matching yellow. That would look awesome. Looks like this guy's driving around this video. That looks like a fun place to be. I wish that it had the original stereo. That looks like some kind of aftermarket thing.
Yeah, you can fix that.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. All right, I'm going 90. I'm going above you. I'm going over.
Oh,
I think somebody gets excited about the Cup 2s. They're like, I have to have this car.
Yeah,
that's happening. So
it always makes me nervous when you bet above me.
You know,
like,
something like this is just so rare, and right now the things that are bringing the big money are the stuff that are stock, rare, and but not so rare that no one knows what it is, like a Mitsubishi Pajero or something like that. This is something that someone's actually heard of.
The Mitsubishi Pajero has a more horsepower motor. So
did you bid a higher number on the Mitsubishi Pajero than you did on a 968 Club Sport?
I think I did, yeah.
You guys check a previous episode on the Mitsubishi.
89,000 was my bid on the Pajero.
He thinks a Montero is going to get more money than this rare RS9 Porsche.
And the Pajero has 100 horsepower in this car, so I'm just saying,
Which one do you think gets around the track faster, even with the 100 horsepower or Delta?
What's funny is you could put the 968 on the track, and you could put the Pajero off the racing line, off the cement track, and they'd probably be neck and neck.
Straight line, I think it's probably pretty close, but there's no doubt that this car, that this 968 beats it around a track. All right, what do you guys think? Tell us in the comments below. Now is the time, and we're going to find out exactly how much this car sells for right after this. Hey guys, I got to tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. If you're looking for a new Porsche or a classic, you got to call our friend Steve at Godden. This guy.
1989 linen gray metallic G50 cab.
Is that going to be for sale?
It is going to be for sale. The car only has 65,000 miles.
Save yourself the hassle of screwing around with all the auctions like we always talk about, and just talk to Steve. He'll find you the classic Porsche you're looking for. Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. Welcome back, everyone. We are the Bid Nerds. That's what you're watching. You know that because you've been watching the show for 5-10 minutes already. All right, you just watched the commercial from Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. We love those guys. This is a car that I think Steve over there would definitely want to have on the showroom floor, because I think he could make money on this car given the results. What are we talking about real quick? And let's get to the big surprise of the week.
Didn't the founder pick up a red one of these or something? Am I making that up?
Mr. Ackerman has a red one.
Yeah.
If I do.
Yeah. So Steve is intimately familiar with these cars because I guarantee you he's driven it. Basically, the 1993 968 CS, the Club Sport, is unobtainium in this country. Porsche made a lightweight version of this car in the rest of the world markets. We're talking about 220 pounds lighter with slightly stiffer suspension, but the same motor and drivetrain. And that was to enhance the image of the car and help move units off the showroom floors because they were slightly floundering at the time in the early 90s. a car that Americans who love to drive and really like these transaxle cars have lusted after. Yours truly, I am in that group, and I have wanted one for a long time. I appreciate the yellow, but I don't know if I'd buy it. I still think these cars bring big money, so I'm thinking $85,000. And in a rare coup, JP took the over at 90 grand, and our car sold, JP, on Bring a Trailer for $57,000. This was a no reserve auction, so I just wonder if the seller is scratching his head as much as the rest of us are. Because, John, after I saw this result, I went back and I read all the comments on Bring a Trailer around the time of the close, and more than 3 people said that they thought that the car got stolen at that price. 57 grand. I'm telling you, JP, that has to be a shock to the seller. He must be kicking himself for running it as a no reserve, because I really do think that car was worth more money. Much the same way the reaction I had when we closed the 40th anniversary the other day that went for $45,000. Looking at this car for 57, holy God, I should have bought this car instead. I mean, this seems like a lot of car for the money, JP, when it's at just 42,000 miles. You could paint those wheels and make this thing even more cool than it already is. JP, what do you think of that result? You took the over, and this car was way under.
Floored by this result. I don't know if that means the end is nigh, that the market just took a complete ish, or what. But this car, that was a huge steal. I mean, I don't know if there's a single car that you could get for that money that would be as awesome as this car. Because not only is this car going to perform really well and be just spectacular to drive, but it also has that rarity cachet thing, that we always talk about, going to the car show and having people in their Ferraris pass right by to go look at this thing. I mean, $57,000, those seats are worth $15,000.
Oh my God. All right. So this one guy said, what a steal. And he totally exaggerated. He goes, those seats are worth $25,000. Was literally one of the comments in the thing. But I agree. Those seats are worth $15,000. That steering wheel is worth $3,000. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot of car for the money. It's a shocking result. JP, there has been a trend in the marketplace where people with low mile 944s, and I'm talking standard 944s, cars with, cars that were basically just put away and stored, they're coming out from being under wraps, and people are asking $50,000 and $60,000 and $70,000 for low mile 944s and 944Ss and a few like early turbos. I mean, this is 100 times more car for the money. And by the production numbers, a much better investment. This is a shockingly low price for the car.
Yeah, well, with this result, those poor people who have those transaxle cars that are trying to get money for them aren't going to get it. I mean, if a CS only doesn't even bring 60 grand, your regular 968 ain't going for ish. I mean, that just, unless we're missing something. Did you guys see this? Did you guys look at the results? Are we missing something? Did you read something in the comments? Is this a salvage title? No. Did it have a huge accident? Was it a repaint? Was it? I mean, what is going on?
He did repaint the car, and nobody could quite understand why it was repainted. Now, of course, the person who brought it in is not the person who repainted it overseas. But outside of that, that was like the only thing. Then this car was just brought in a couple of months ago, like I think late last year. So I still think, even if it's repainted, who cares?
Dude, I mean, you mentioned the anniversary edition 996 being off, and that car went for $45,000 at 30-something thousand miles on it. Is that off from a price rate? I mean, 6 months ago, that would have been, maybe a $55,000 car, tops maybe 60.
I think
what's that?
I think that's a 15 to 25% correction, whereas this to me seems like it's 35 to 40% below its market value.
I think this, if this were 6 months ago, I would have said this is a $100,000 plus car, plus like by a big margin, and it just Wasn't. I mean, our friend Rami just got his 993 RS, which
Yeah.
this 968 is not a 993 RS, but
No.
this car is just as rare, if not more rare than the 993. It should be bringing some real money because, the 993 RS is a $400,000 car. What the hell is going on? I don't get it. I don't know. Does this worry you guys watching this result? Does this make you go, something's up in the market? We saw Bitcoin go up this weekend. What the heck is going on there? So I don't know. There's a lot of weird wackiness going on, and we're going to keep track of it and keep talking about these values. We want to hear your comments below. What do you guys think of the results of this? Was this car stolen, like the comment said, or is that just really what these worth? Are just not that great? I don't know. Let us know. And we're going to talk about another interesting car tomorrow. So thanks for hanging out. Hit the subscribe, like, and notification button. Smash it, like Michael Deeb says right there with the big old hand. So do that now, and we will see you tomorrow.
No!